quite a few students can't make these Tuesday nights, and I understand why. So what I wanted to do was I really wanted to share. Okay, you can go away here. I really wanted to go through all of the resources that I have provided to you all throughout the course. Now, the general VLC, I think some folks, uh, hi Ronique, hi Tessie. I think some folks forget to check the
Good evening, Doc. Yeah, good night, everyone. Good night, Doc.
Hello, good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night.
hello, Alois, how are you? I want to say hello to everybody.
Hi, good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone. Dr. Ford, I'm
Yes,
doing pretty
thank you,
good.
Doc. Good night, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah. Hello, Hazel.
Good, how do you do, everybody?
Hi, Doc.
Hi. So, as I was saying, this meeting, I really, really, really want to focus on APA because I have very few concerns about your content. As you can see from, as I was saying, I'm all caught up with grading. The only thing I haven't graded yet, and only one person submitted, is what's due this week for the weeks 13, 14. So I really want to make sure you guys are on track. The biggest issues that I see in everybody's submissions is APA. And I know that it takes a little while to really get your arms around APA, but I don't know if everybody checks the general VLC. I've just got one of our classes open, but I've got like APA resources. That one is this one, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I created 3 presentations here on one of them is references, one of them citations, and I forgot what I did the other one on. It's how long it's been since I've looked at it. And then of course I've got this link to the APA style. And then I also have a checklist that I've attached, and there's an attachment you could download. And then, of course, I also have this link to the APA style and then the APA guide. And then, of course, again, my link to my YouTube channel with those 3 videos. And the other last one is I was going to create a video on formatting papers because you can really use Word to format your paper exactly how you need to. But I came across this girl here who I don't know what her name is. I think she tells you her name, but I watched this from her Smart Student. She does a magnificent job about showing you how to set up your title page, your headings, your introductions, and your introduction heading and your headings and everything like that. That I wanted to make sure that everybody was checking because everything I'm showing you right here, I opened right up from the general VLC. So if you're in the class, well, you're this is my way of accessing the classroom. Yours looks a little bit different, but I was really, really impressed with what this girl has here for formatting. And then also, I want to show you, does everybody have the dissertation guide?
Yes, Doc, I
Yes,
do.
we do.
Okay, just want to make sure
Yes,
because
yes.
the dissertation guide, has the title page. The one thing they don't show you here is that you want to have 4 double spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I went more than 4. And this is all centered on the page. but this is exactly, there's a number of you that are using icons from Acacia, icons from LIBT. Get rid of all that business and just make sure that your title page has the name of your paper, uh, the title, and then you're the submitted by, anyway. The girl on the APA video that I was showing you, uh her this girl, she does a really good job of showing you how to set up that title page. So, and then of course, make sure you read everything very carefully. Like concept paper, you can use a colon, and then you follow the headings, but you don't use any of the Roman numerals. One of the things that I've noticed very heavily is that a lot of people, when they're writing their introduction paragraph, they use the word introduction, and that is not acceptable in APA. What you do is you repeat the title of your paper. That's your introduction heading. It's centered and bold. So basically, you just repeat that, and then you write your introductory paragraph. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure, like I said, after I finished grading today, again, there are very few papers that I had any issues with the content itself. Maybe some of the conclusions or the introductions needed to be tightened up a little bit, or needed to contain like a roadmap sentence in the introduction. But by and far, I haven't seen anybody's content that I'm like, what in the world are you writing here? So my point is I really, it can be very frustrating if you get if you continue to lose points because of all this APA stuff. Now, I want you all also to pay very close attention. Now, I don't know if you can go to the Smart Student page. She probably has some really good videos, but again, my videos on my channel, which let me open up here up, and remember I'm going in my way, but my videos and my playlist, should have gone there. Playlist. Again, there's a lot of stuff here you won't see because this is but this APA playlist, I have 3 videos here, and one of them is about, let's look at the details. What are they about? Where are you here? Hang on a second. Let's go back to dashboard. Not my dashboard. Okay, Kim. Here we go. The videos. There we go. So I've got references list, a video on references list. There's some things that I still see students struggling with, like if you have an article, the article title itself is not italicized. You need to make sure you follow what I call the rules of capitalization, where you capitalize the first word after a colon, and any proper nouns. So I go through all of that with examples. Now, again, it's only an 8-minute video, so it's not an exhausted list, but I tried to be very, very focused on what's required. And then citations. Most of you do pretty good with the citations. Most of them, the one thing to remember is from APA 6. I don't know if y'all wrote in APA 6, but in APA 7, if you have 3 or more authors, the citation changed to et al. So if it's Johnson, Smith, and Jones who wrote the article, then it will be Johnson et al. For the first citation and then forward. In APA 6, you were supposed to list it out and then all subsequent. But for 7, you use et al. And then I also have that one video on tables and figures. There, you probably won't have as many tables and figures in your concept paper that you would have in your dissertation. But anyway, so I really, though, focus very heavily on your references list. Book titles are italicized. Every single reference follows that rule of capitalization. First word after a colon, if there is one, in any proper noun. And then book titles are italicized. Article titles are not. The journal title is italicized with the volume italicized, and the issue is not. So anyway, like I said, I just really wanted to try to reinforce this APA business because I think that, again, for the most part, I have not seen a lot of content from any of you that are on this meeting or who are not on this meeting that I have been overly concerned with. It is, and if you look at the feedback in your papers, you'll see that most of it is APA related or format related for APA style paper. The other thing I want to caution you about is your references list. So if you remember it back to the week, week 2, and then it moved to a different week when they expanded this class. But when you wrote that literature review, the instructions said no older than 5 years. So you want to adhere to that. A student emailed me today, seminal works do not fall in that category. You can use, because sometimes seminal works will be older, and that's why they're seminal works. But if you're using research, you want to stay within 5 years. And just a caveat to that. If you're finding articles right now that are 2020, by the time that you get to dissertation, you're going to have to refresh those because they're going to, 2026 is right around the corner. So they will fall off that 5-year requirement list. So be very cautious with what you're using. It can be very frustrating when you get your work turned back to you because your references list is older. One last thing I really want to emphasize is, while there is nothing wrong with using a direct quote, you should only quote something directly if you cannot paraphrase it. And what I mean by that is if it loses its meaning or the context behind the quote. Otherwise, you want to make sure that you paraphrase. Paraphrase. Try not to use direct quotes again unless you have to use that to make the point, and the context would be lost if you paraphrased it. So that's really what I wanted to just kind of beat on about tonight, because I really want to make sure that your AP, it is so frustrating to know you've got great content and then you keep getting something kicked back to you because of APA. That won't happen with the concept paper as far as getting kicked back, but it can impact your overall grade. And I don't want that. Like I said, I do not have any concern about the way that the majority of any of you in either of my 2 sections are writing. I think you guys are pretty spot on with that. So I have a lot less concern about your content. So anyway, so I'll stop yammering on about APA and give you guys a chance to, like I like to do with this face-to-face meeting, give you an opportunity to ask questions. So you've got the floor. Mike, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Good evening, Doc.
Hi.
Good evening, team. All right. So I just a little clarity. You touched on the 5-year standard,
Yes.
and I was always kind of a bit unclear where that was concerned. At one point, I thought that that 5-year standard really only apply to, particularly when you're doing like the literature review, where you're actually now using, you're reviewing actual studies, as opposed to other parts of your paper, for example, in your introduction or doing your concept paper, that going over the 5 years was allowable. But what you're saying is
No.
that we should apply that 5-year standard right throughout our academic work, particularly as it relates to our research.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Sure
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
Floor's open.
So, Doc,
Mhm.
thanks so much for your presentations and your continuous support. So the essay that is due on the 6th now, you see, the problem is that because the previous assignments we have been moving them due to the technical difficulties that we have here in Jamaica.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that essay for the 6th is feasible. I think the discussion can work, but
Okay.
the 6th, I'm pushing hard, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I sent a message to Dr. Ryan Buck, who is our dean, and because I've heard from a number of students, because I know that some of you all, based on where you are in Jamaica, not were, but are in Jamaica, I know some folks were more severely impacted than others. And I did ask him about leeway for the concept paper. And he said, well, that creates more work for you, blah, blah, blah. But I also want to be cognizant of the fact that you guys are facing difficulty. And it's beyond your control. So, I will work with any student that I need to. But if possible, I encourage you to try to find a way to get your work caught up and then meet the deadline for the concept paper. But again, I will do what I'm allowed to do to support you all who have been struggling and are still having difficulties with power and water and internet. Did that answer your question, Tessie?
Yes, Doc. So if I'm having challenges, I will reach out to you as usual.
Okay.
Thanks so much for your support. Yes, Doc.
Okay, perfect. Jodine.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks for your presentation. I'm sitting here and I'm laughing and I'm recognizing that I perhaps just need to settle down, take a step back and go through your presentation because I did go through a few of them.
Okay.
APA is my struggle.
Yeah.
My other struggle was exactly what Tessie raised, because I'm not sure how graphic you have been told of the realities of some of us. Some of us
Yeah.
are actually homeless as
Mm,
we speak.
mm,
And that won't change anytime soon. So we do
right.
appreciate the concessions that you have been giving us as we
Absolutely.
go through.
Sure.
I wanted to ask though about the concept paper.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of its relatedness to the work we've been doing, that's clear for me. But at this point, is it advisable for students to make any significant changes to the
Well,
general thought process?
here's what I shared with Chantal. Chantal is on here. Chantal and I have been emailing back and forth. Here's what I recommended. It's
Right.
because you've been submitting so many pieces during the course of this class, I would stick with what you've got right now. And the
Okay.
reason is because you've gotten feedback from me on how to improve anything. You are not stuck with your concept paper. Once you move to dissertation, you're not stuck. It's not going to be, you have to follow this exactly. Absolutely not. I can't tell you. And when at university I went to, we called it the proposal. My dissertation looked completely different from my proposal. It
Okay.
totally
That's the
did.
clarification I needed.
Yes, because for ease sake, for you all, even if you think, I may not be able to collect that qualitative data that I wanted to do. So I might not be able to do just qualitative. I might need to do mixed methods, or I might just need to switch to quantitative. Don't do it right now. Don't do it for the concept paper. Stick with what you've done so far. The purpose is to get an approved concept paper so you can move to dissertation. Then when you get your advisor, whomever you choose, then you can talk about making changes. So you are not married to the concept paper.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Very useful.
Okay, perfect. Ainsley, is that you, McDonald? Do you have your hand up?
Are you hearing me, Doc?
I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the insight, especially into the APA, because I recognize for me, that's where I would have lost a couple of marks based on my submissions.
Mm-hmm.
However, as I said before, I still do not understand the grading process. When I looked at some of my work, it's kind of confusing based on the score and the letter grade that is assigned. Mm-hmm. I am not sure I understand how the stuff are being graded.
Oh my goodness. And we communicated via email. Once in a while, I'll have a student that I'll grade, and they definitely, the grade itself for that particular assignment should be a certain letter grade, and it'll show an F. It is an LMS hiccup. So because Ainsley found this, it was him for both the papers I graded for him today. One showed a D and one showed an F, and that's not the grade he actually earned.
That's my concern, because when I saw the grade that you gave me and the letter grade, I was very concerned.
Yeah.
So that's why I was seeking clarity in terms of how the papers are actually graded.
It is, I grade based on the rubric, but there are glitches in the LMS system. It's like the grade book. Some of you have asked me this question. I'm teaching a different doctoral class, not business research methods, but a technology class for students who are earlier in the DBA program. And the grade book shows F. And I'm like, that grade book is so hosed up, it's not funny. Just look at the score that you've got. Look at the score that you've got, because that F is wrong. But once in a while, there's a student, it's not across the board, Ainsley, because when I saw it happen with you, I immediately, before you even emailed me, I immediately contacted our LMS administrator and said, there's a problem here. Here's the student's name. It's 2 of the assignments. It's showing a letter grade that is not correct. And it's not across the board. It didn't happen to every student for that, whatever week it was. So I am, if you guys see for any individual assignment, not the grade book where you've got that, your overall grade and an F beside it, that is so wrong. But if there's one that let's say you made a 39 out of 40 and it's showing an F or a D, let me know, because it's an LMS glitch. But by and far, look at the overall score that you have right now. So if it says 94.72, but it says F, just look at the grade itself, or the numeric grade. So yes, Ainsley, I apologize again. If it was something I could do to fix it, I would, but I have alerted. Now our LMS administrator is in India. So by the time I contacted him, he's probably already offline. I'll probably hear from him sometime around midnight or 2 a.m. But I will get that fixed. And then a number of you have asked me about the rubric for the 40-point assessments. And in the rubric, it shows 35 to 40 as exceptional. But in the grading system, if you make a 35, it's a B instead of an A. And so I asked weeks ago, one of your peers contacted me about that. I asked again. And then today I sent yet another email and I said, something is not set up correctly. If this rubric, which is the Acacia rubric, shows 35 to 40 as exceptional, then no student should have a B if they fall in the 35 to 40 range. So again, I'm working on this part, but I think all in all, it really comes down to that final score. So anyway, go ahead, Ainsley. You have another question?
So Doc, I noticed that we have done several pieces over the course, and you would have gotten a final grade for all the courses. How does this final grade factor into the grade for the concept paper, the final grade for the concept paper?
Well, now the concept paper will be graded on its own merit.
Okay, that's what I was trying to,
yeah. So you have every opportunity. Let's say you're straddling how the university, and I'm just going to bring this up, how the university classifies A's and B's. Let's say you're straddling that A and B. That's why I wanted to talk about APA tonight. That's how you can push that grade up, your overall grade up. So anyway, Jodine, go ahead.
Follow up to what my colleague just asked, because I'm still not clear. In terms of the calculation of the overall score for the course, how do the formative pieces feature? Is it going to be an average, or it is the grade you get for the concept paper?
No, it's an average of what you've earned so far in the class. That's why I brought up that straddling an A and a B. That's
open transparency, Doc.
Yes.
You and I both know my issue is APA, and my title page is where I lose my marks. If I am,
you won't anymore. You go sit there, spend some time with those videos.
I've done. It has been better. My last two papers was better. It was better, but I still haven't perfected it clearly.
Okay.
Let's say we get to close to the end of the road and I find myself straddling an A and a B. Can I resubmit earlier papers for grading?
No, I'm sorry.
All right. Let's say I submit a paper and it's still within the grading period. Do I have the option to resubmit papers for grading?
Anything that's been submitted and graded this far, no. You still have the paper that's due at the end of this week, and then the concept paper.
Right, but the reason I asked is because I was under the impression that we were in a competency-based context in terms of how we were operating. And I really wanted to find out in terms of the mastery learning component, how is that being treated if opportunities were not being
Well,
created for
no,
resubmission?
yeah, this isn't a competency-based format.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
this
might
format
have
is not,
misunderstood.
yeah, this format is not competency-based.
Okay, so
Okay.
once you submit a paper and the professor grades it, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Now,
so much.
I did give in the earlier weeks of the class, I did give some opportunities to resubmit, but that was because I believed that some guidance that was being given was kind of counter to what we were doing over here at Acacia as opposed to LIBT.
Okay.
But anyway, I just want to say one thing. Even if you make a B, and I
Mhm.
know, hey, I'm a type A. I wanted to make all A's too. But one of the things they told me at my first residency was they don't call you Dr. A or Dr. B. They call you Doctor whatever your name is.
That we
So
know. I just wanted to ask because as you know, I was out for a bit, so I'm just trying to catch my bearings.
sure,
And I want to
sure.
make sure I understand.
So Ainsley, let me get to you in just 1 second. One thing I have had a number of students ask me, will you look at my concept paper before I submit it? And now keep in mind, I've got 20 students. So I have said I will give it a once over, but it's going to be more about APA and it will not be as detailed as what I give you when I grade your papers. So my point being is don't send it to me 3 hours before it's due. Stop that, Goofy. 3 hours before it's due and say, can you look at this paper for me, Dr. Ford? But I will give a once over because like I said, I want you guys all to make make that best grade ever on your concept paper. I really do. I'm not one of those faculty members who tries to make you work so hard that you get confused and your head turns around. I want to be there for you guys and I want to make it simple for you. So anyway, okay, let's see. Ainsley, you had your hand up first and then Mike.
Doc, I got the answer. I was just asking if we could submit the concept paper in advance for you to just glance over it to give us some ideas as
Just
to where.
Absolutely. As long as you understand it will be a glance. It
Yeah,
will not be
just a glance.
Okay. Yes.
And my final question, Doc, the piece that is due the 6th, that's a final document, that's a final assignment for this course.
Oh my goodness. Let me look. Hang on a second. I have been so all up in my there's the assessment essay that's due at the end of this week. That has to do with
the problem statement.
Yes, and literature review. So
and
yes.
That's a final assignment for the course.
That's the final before the concept paper.
No, man, I know the concept paper is separate.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Doc.
Mike?
All right, sure. All right, so I kind of have two, questions. The first is an assumption. I guess it's just a light assumption that you could confirm for me. So, I mean, from I entered this program, I've been very dissertation centered. So of course, when we learned that we had to do this course, I was really not pleased. But we understand the need for it, and